It was supposed to be a peaceful weekend. I had just arrived at my lake cabin, tucked deep in the pines, overlooking water so clear you could see the pebbles on the bottom. No Wi-Fi, no noise, just me, my dog Max, and the stillness of nature. The cabin had been in my family for 3 generations, and it was mine now. That Saturday morning, I was enjoying a cup of coffee on the deck when I noticed a woman striding down from the community path toward my private dock. She was in her mid-50s, platinum blonde bob, oversized sunglasses, and a robe flapping behind her like she owned the wind. I didn't recognize her, but she walked like she belonged. Before I could speak, she yelled, "You must be the new owner." "I'm Karen, head of the HOA. I nodded politely. "This is private property, just so you know." She waved her hand like I was joking. "Oh, honey, everything around here is community shared. I always swim here." Before I could object, she dropped her robe, completely naked, and marched toward the lake. "Whoa! Hey, ma'am, this isn't a public beach," I shouted, nearly dropping my mug. She turned, half ankle deep in water, completely unbothered. "Sweetheart, I've been skinny dipping here every summer for 15 years. You're the new one. Don't get uptight." I was stunned. "This isn't negotiable. Please put something on and leave now." That's when her tone shifted. Her eyes narrowed, and she marched back up the dock, grabbing her phone. "You'll regret this," she hissed. I thought maybe that was the end of it, just a weird story I'd laugh about later. But 20 minutes later, as I was cleaning up the dock, I heard sirens. Blue and red lights lit up the gravel path as 2 sheriff cars pulled into my lot. Karen stood next to them, fully dressed now, playing the victim like she was auditioning for a soap opera. She pointed toward me as I approached. "There he is," she cried. "He threatened me and tried to videotape me while I was swimming." I froze. "What?" The deputy turned to me. "Sir, we need to have a word. You're being accused of harassment and illegal surveillance." I laughed, thinking it was a joke. It wasn't. Karen had filed a formal report. I was about to find out how far she'd go to protect her right to swim naked in someone else's lake. I stood on the gravel, surrounded by pine trees and total disbelief, while 2 deputies approached me like I was some sort of threat. Meanwhile, Karen stood behind them with crossed arms and a smug look that screamed, "Gotcha." One officer, Deputy Harris, asked calmly, "Sir, we just want to get your side. Did you record this woman without consent?" "What? Absolutely not," I said, raising my hands. "She trespassed onto my dock, stripped naked in broad daylight, and I asked her to leave. That's all." Karen cut in sharply. He had his phone out. I saw him aiming it at me. "I want those files deleted, or I'm pressing charges." My voice trembled, more from shock than fear. I didn't even bring my phone to the dock. "Check my pockets." Deputy Harris turned to his partner and nodded. They patted me down. "No phone." Karen's face twitched. Then I said, "My phone's still inside the cabin. You can check the camera roll yourself." The officers exchanged looks. One followed me into the cabin. I unlocked my phone, showed them the gallery, even the security footage from my deck cam. Nothing showed Karen at all, and that's when her story started unraveling. "Ma'am, are you sure he recorded you?" Deputy Harris asked her outside. She blinked. I am certain he must have deleted it." Harris raised an eyebrow. Before we even arrived, she went quiet. Then, in an act of desperation, Karen changed tactics. Even if he didn't record me, he verbally assaulted me. He threatened me. That's when I lost my patience. "You walked onto my private dock, undressed, and when I told you to leave, you called 911 and made up a whole story to get me arrested. This is insane." To my horror, the other officer still pulled out handcuffs. "Sir, we're going to detain you until we can confirm all statements. You have the right to remain silent." I was stunned as cold steel clicked around my wrists. My dog, Max, barked anxiously from the deck, confused. Karen folded her arms again, victorious. As they loaded me into the car, she whispered just loud enough for me to hear, "This is my lake, and you'll learn to share." But Karen had made one mistake. She didn't know my cabin had an outdoor wildlife cam pointed at the dock, and it had recorded everything. I sat in the back of the patrol car, cuffed, furious, and humiliated. My cabin, my family's peaceful escape, had just become a battleground because of a power-hungry HOA president with no sense of boundaries. Back at the station, the sheriff, an older man named Granger, entered the room where I was being held. He had a calm but authoritative presence. "You've got a clean record," he said, sliding into the chair across from me. "Let's talk." I nodded, jaw clenched. "Sheriff, I didn't film her. She's lying, but I have proof she trespassed and undressed on my property." He raised an eyebrow. "What kind of proof?" "My cabin has a wildlife cam. It's hidden under the eaves, pointing at the dock. Captures motion. It was recording the whole time." That got his attention. Within an hour, one of the deputies drove me back to the cabin to retrieve the memory card. I led him to the camera, still mounted discreetly under the overhang of the deck, pulled the card, and popped it into my laptop. We watched together in silence. There it was, clear as day, Karen marching onto my dock, throwing off her robe, and walking into the water. My reaction, her shouting into her phone after I asked her to leave. No harassment, no filming, just me being stunned. The deputy's jaw tightened. "This changes everything." We returned to the station. Sheriff Granger watched the footage next, arms folded. "Looks like you were telling the truth," he finally said, turning to the deputy. "Uncuff him." I rubbed my wrists, nodding once. "What now?" The sheriff sighed. "She filed a false report. That's a serious offense, but something tells me she's used to getting her way around here." "I want to press charges," I said without hesitation. "She tried to destroy my name with lies. I'm not letting it slide." The sheriff gave a small, approving nod. "Fair enough, but brace yourself. HOA Karen's about to make this mess even uglier." He was right. Later that evening, I received a letter slipped under my door. It was from the HOA. They were demanding I attend a disciplinary hearing for disruptive behavior and violating community norms. Apparently, Karen was pulling strings inside the HOA to punish me. And this time, she wasn't acting alone. The letter from the HOA was laughable if it hadn't made my blood boil. They accused me of disrespectful conduct, verbal intimidation, and interfering with long-standing community traditions. The last one made me laugh out loud. Apparently, skinny-dipping trespassers were now a tradition. They scheduled the disciplinary hearing for Saturday afternoon at the HOA clubhouse. I wasn't sure what to expect until Sheriff Granger called me personally. "I've dealt with that board before," he said. "If you're going, I'm going too, and I'm bringing the footage." The room was packed. HOA members lined up behind folding tables like they were royalty. Karen sat front and center, smug and dressed like she was hosting a real estate seminar. A few neighbors murmured as I entered, but when they saw Sheriff Granger walk in behind me, the room fell silent. Karen's face turned pale for the first time. "Let's begin," the chairman said, clearing his throat nervously. "Mr. Wallace, we're here to discuss your behavior at the lake cabin and a complaint filed by our president, Mrs. Karen Stockley." I stepped forward. "Gladly, but first, I think everyone should see what actually happened." Granger placed a tablet on the table. He tapped play, and the footage rolled. The room watched in dead silence as Karen strutted down my dock, stripped, and got into the water uninvited. Then the audio picked up her shouting, lying, and threatening to ruin me. Someone gasped. Someone else whispered, "Oh my God." Karen's face was a mask of horror. When it ended, the sheriff spoke. "This footage is time-stamped, authenticated, and has already been submitted to our records. Mrs. Stockley filed a false police report and attempted to mislead law enforcement. She's also violated multiple HOA bylaws herself, including trespassing and public indecency." The chairman looked like he was going to faint. An older woman on the board leaned over and said, "This isn't the first time Karen's pushed her luck." Karen jumped up. "This is all a setup. He edited that video. He's trying to take my place in the HOA." Sheriff Granger cut her off. "Ma'am, another word, and I'll have you escorted out." And that was it. The board voted on the spot. Karen was suspended indefinitely from all HOA positions pending legal proceedings. They issued a formal apology to me, and the chairman even offered to cover my legal fees. Karen stormed out, humiliated. The woman who tried to ruin my life ended up exposed in front of her entire community. And me? I went back to my lake cabin, poured a cup of coffee, and let the quiet settle in. This time, nobody came near my dock. Thanks for watching. If you loved how Karen got what she deserved, smash that like button, drop a comment with your thoughts, and subscribe for more HOA justice stories.